Today, we're comparing two budget-friendly Samsung A series smartphones, the Galaxy A15 and its successor, the Galaxy A16 5G. Given you can get these devices for 270,000 naira or $160 for different memory configurations, more on that later, I'll help you decide which you should get, and so without taking much of your time, yo guys, let's get started. When it comes to unboxing and accessories, both devices are practically the same. There are no chargers or earphones in the boxes, just the basics, USB-C cables, SIM ejectors, and the phones themselves. Moving over to design, both devices follow a pretty standard playbook. Glass on the front, plastic on the back, and a plastic frame. You can't expect materials like those flagship models here, but they still look premium since Samsung maintains the same flagship design with these devices. The Galaxy A15 though feels a little more compact when you hold it, thanks to its smaller dimensions. This size is great for me personally. It just fits nicely in your hand and doesn't feel overly chunky. It's easier to manage one-handedly in this comparison. Now, the Galaxy A16 5G is definitely bigger and also has these thinner bezels. It's great if you prefer larger phones, especially for watching content or multitasking. But if you've got smaller hands, it can sometimes be a bit trickier to handle one-handedly. Surprisingly, both weigh about the same at 200 grams, so you're not sacrificing weight for the size increase. By the way, both devices have dual SIM trays and the hybrid or shared type. If you're a bit clumsy or live in environments where spills happen often, unlike the A15 here, the Galaxy A16 comes with an IP54 rating. It's not full waterproofing or anything, but it offers some nice dust and splash resistance. So if your phone happens to get a little wet or dusty, it will handle it better. A nice bonus, right? One thing I've got to mention though, and this could be a deal breaker for some, the Galaxy A16 ditches the headphone jack. So if you're someone who still holds on to those wired headphones, well, it's time to either join the Bluetooth squad or just get used to a USB-C adapter. The A15, thank goodness, still gives us that trusty 3.5mm jack. So if you're like me and sometimes just want to plug in a headphone without worrying about your battery life, the Galaxy A15 has your back. Also, for the speakers, both smartphones offer downfiring configurations from this slate, but I somehow prefer the sound from the Galaxy A15, the older device. So let's talk about the displays on both of these smartphones. Samsung is known for bringing beautiful screens to even its budget lineup, and here we see both devices rocking Super AMOLED panels with a 90Hz refresh rate and 800 nits of peak brightness. Both smartphones handle outdoor visibility and scrolling well with smooth and bright displays. But where things start to differ is in how they present their colors and of course the screen sizes. On the Galaxy A15, you've got a 6.5-inch display, and I have to say the colors just pop. Whether you're watching your YouTube videos or scrolling through your Instagram feed, the saturation really grabs your attention. It's almost like those colors jump out at you, making everything feel lively and vibrant. So if you enjoy that extra punch in your visuals, the Galaxy A15 won't disappoint. On the other hand, the Galaxy A16 comes in slightly larger with 6.7-inch display, and the punchiness is toned down a tad bit. The colors feel more natural. It's not as saturated, but some people might prefer this softer, more realistic look, especially if you're someone who doesn't like images that look too boosted. Now, the real display edge the A16 has over the sibling here is in the bezels. They're a little thinner, giving it a more immersive feel. The screen to body ratio is marginally better, so if you're into that full screen experience with as little black border as possible, the A16 might win you over. Now, with the same full HD plus resolution, both displays are actually really good. Alright, let's talk about the performance, and this is where things get interesting. Depending on your region, the Galaxy A16 5G boasts a newer processor, either the Exynos 1330 or the MediaTek Dimensity 6300. Mine is the MediaTek variant. It's based on this 6nm process. On paper, it makes it a better processor than what we get from the A15, the G99. In real-world use, you'll likely not notice the difference in upload times and multitasking, except you get the varying RAM configuration. And when it comes to gaming, both smartphones handle these mid-tier games decently, but I wouldn't consider these devices super gaming devices. As for RAM and storage options, both smartphones offer configurations up to 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage, but it's worth noting that the base variant of the A16 costs the same as the 6GB variant of the A15. So if you're planning to get the 128 4GB variant of the A15 for 248,000 naira, bumping up the price to the A16 for 270,000 naira or $160 would give you the 6GB variant for the A15. Both devices are currently running on Android 14 and One UI 6.1. Now, unlike last year when we got to see 3 years of major Android updates on the A15, this year we are getting a 6-year OS update for the A16, and that's super impressive. 1 year lower than you'd expect from the flagship Samsung models, and 3 years more than you get from the A15. Now let's discuss the cameras, because I know that's a big deal for many people. Both smartphones feature 50 megapixel triple camera setups, and at first glance you might think they're the same. I mean, as far as the numbers go, you get 5 megapixel ultra wide, 2 megapixel macro sensors, and even 30 megapixel front-facing cameras, so they are basically the same, but the differences become clear as soon as you start taking photos with these devices. The Galaxy A15 has a bit more contrast-heavy post-processing, initially making its ultra-wide camera stand out for me. I was pleasantly surprised at how much I preferred the ultra-wide shot on the A15, especially in daylight. However, regarding the main cameras, the Galaxy A16 has a clear advantage with more lifelike and balanced images. This translates to the indoor shots also, and the colors just feel more true to life. I like the better balance for the rear cameras, exposure is on point, but the A15 isn't left far behind. I mean, it's a close one here. Now in low light, this is where the A16 really starts to pull ahead. Even without the fancy laser-guided tech of expensive flagship devices, the Galaxy A16 stabilized and sharpened low-light shots much better, especially with night mode enabled. If you're planning to shoot in dimly lit environments, you get clearer, less noisy photos on the Galaxy A16. Selfies might surprise you. I like the selfies better on the Galaxy A15, even though I admit the A16 selfie tends to be more correct and color accurate for white balance. The A15 adds a bit of pop to the details. It's almost like a filter, and maybe that's the vibe you want for Instagram. But if you prefer more natural skin tones, then the Galaxy A16 would be your buddy. But here's a critical point for video. Stabilization is noticeably better on the A16. Whether you're shooting while walking or just in motion, the A16 handles video shake much better. However, if you're more into vibrant color profiles on video, the A15 applies more contrast and saturation right out of the box, which some of you might prefer. For the cameras, the A16 has that slight edge over the A15 and should be the device you pick up if that's what you're looking for. Alright, we've captured all the details here, now it's your turn. Snap the like button and strike a pose on the subscribe button. I mean, just hit the like and subscribe button, it helps us a bunch. Thank you. Both smartphones pack 5000 mAh batteries with 25 watts wired charging, so no real difference here in numbers. From my experience, both easily last you through a full day of use. Now the 90Hz refresh rate does chew through a little more power, but it's nothing too dramatic. So should you go for the Galaxy A15 or the Galaxy A16? If you want better overall performance, more balanced camera photos, and better low light capabilities, and even a bigger display, then the Galaxy A16 is the stronger pick. It's got those smaller bezels, more camera features, and it future-proofs your device with 6 major Android upgrades. But if you can't easily justify having to swap your device, the A15, right now, and trying to top up money to get this newer device, you won't really miss out a lot sticking to the Galaxy A15. You can easily hold on to the A15 and feel just fine, and maybe upgrade to the A17 next year instead. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you team A15 or team A16? You can also check out this comparison video or my dedicated reviews on these devices on this channel. Till the next one, cuidate.